Welcome to the deep dive. So, today we are tackling something pretty uncomfortable, right? That feeling we all know, but nobody really likes talking about envy.
Exactly, that green-eyed
Yeah,
monster.
yeah, that one. The feeling that makes you just want to, I don't know, shut everything down when you see someone else succeeding. We're basically trained to just push it away, pretend it's not happening.
Deny, deny, deny.
Right. But here's the thing. Our deep dive today looks at sources that completely flip that idea on its head. They argue that maybe ignoring envy is, well, the worst thing you can do. Instead, this material suggests it can actually be harnessed, turned into, believe it or not, rocket fuel for your own life.
Sound counterintuitive, I know.
Yeah.
But think of it like this. We're exploring a kind of psychological shortcut here, taking this feeling you can't help having that gut punch and repurposing it.
Repurposing it how?
Turning it from something you see as like a personal failing into a really precise diagnostic tool. It's basically screaming valuable information right at you.
Okay, so that's the big paradox then. How does this thing that feels so ugly, frankly scrolling, feeling bad about yourself, how does that actually become a map? A map showing you the life you secretly want.
That's the core shift. Moving from shame about the feeling to seeing it as a strategy.
And once you make that shift, I guess you stop wasting energy fighting it.
You stop fighting it and you start using it. That's the goal.
All right, let's dig into that. Most people, like we said, get the standard advice on envy. Feel it, hide it, it's seen as ugly.
Yeah, conventional wisdom is just suppress it, deny it, pretend it's not there. It's basically an emotional shutdown.
But trying to just stuff it down, does that even work?
Not really, according to this material.
Yeah.
Suppression takes a lot of energy, and often it just backfires. It can make you resent the other person even more, or worse, resent yourself for even feeling it in the first place.
So you end up trading that sharp pang of envy for just this long, low-level feeling of shame or inadequacy.
Exactly. Which is why the sources we looked at offer this really bold alternative. They state it pretty bluntly.
Yeah.
But envy, when handled right, is rocket fuel.
Rocket fuel, that's quite a claim. Linking this dark feeling directly to, like, serious personal growth or achievement?
It is bold. But the psychological thinking behind it is fascinating. It argues that envy isn't really about the other person at all. It's actually about you.
How so?
The source puts it like this. Envy is your subconscious pointing at a life you secretly want. It's not a moral issue. It's more like an emotional GPS signal. Your inner system is basically yelling, hey, look over there, that's where we want to go.
Wow, okay, so if that's true, then the moment you feel envy, that's actually a critical choice point, isn't it?
Absolutely pivotal. You have a split second to decide.
Do you fall into the usual pattern, the passive thing, scrolling, sulking, feeling bad?
Right. The path of least resistance.
More. Does this whole idea demand something else, something active?
It demands immediate active engagement. That passive response to, ooh, must be nice, scrolling past, that's what keeps you stuck. That's the toxic part.
So the alternative is what? When you feel that pang, instead of thinking must be nice, you think?
You think, okay, hold on. Why does this sting? What specifically about their success, their situation, is triggering this feeling in me? You shift from resentment to investigation.
Investigation, okay. Which means we need a practical way to actually do that conversion. It's easy to say turn jealousy into action, but how does that work in the moment?
Yeah, and that's where the source material gets really practical. It lays out a very clear three-step process, a formula almost.
Okay, I'm ready. What's the formula?
You have to channel the energy of jealousy into curiosity. And then this is crucial, that curiosity must immediately convert into action.
Jealousy to curiosity to action.
That's the sequence. It's the only way, the sources argue, to actually harness the power of that initial negative hit without letting it poison you.
Okay, but that curiosity step feels like the real hurdle. Honestly, when I feel jealous, my first instinct isn't curiosity. It's more like irritation or finding reasons why they don't deserve it or how they got lucky.
Oh, absolutely. That's a really important point. It's natural to feel resistance there.
So how do you force yourself to be curious about someone you kind of resent in that moment?
The material suggests focusing on the difference between passive resentment and active envy. Resentment just wants the other person not to have the thing. Active envy, reframed, asks, okay, what did they do to get the thing and why don't I have it yet?
So it's a conscious mental switch. You have to deliberately choose inquiry over judgment.
Exactly. You override the default.
Yeah.
So when the source says you feel that burn, that initial sting,
Yeah. Right.
the instruction is stop the pity party, stop the resentment loop and start studying. right then and there. Treat it like gathering intelligence.
Studying the person.
Yeah.
Or the situation.
Both, really. You stop seeing their success as this magical, unattainable thing and start dissecting it. You ask sharp questions. Okay, what skills did they need? What moves did they actually make? What were the risks involved? How did they overcome obstacles?
Ah, so you're breaking it down. You're looking for the mechanics behind the success.
Precisely. You're turning an overwhelming feeling into manageable data points. Actionable intelligence, like you said.
That reframing feels powerful. It shifts the focus from their seemingly effortless win back to your potential actions.
Right, and that's where that quote comes in again. Envy is only toxic when it's passive. The second you engage your curiosity, you start neutralizing the toxicity.
It becomes, what was it? Ambition in disguise.
Ambition in disguise. It suggests the envy wasn't a sign you're bad, but proof your subconscious knows the target. Your conscious mind just hasn't built the roadmap yet.
So you use the sting, not as a reason to quit, but as the very energy you need to start building that map.
You use the sting as a signal. Call to action, not a stop sign.
Okay, the psychology makes sense. But let's get tactical. We have the formula. Jealousy to curiosity to action. How do we actually do the action part, especially when that feeling hits hard? You know, you see someone younger, richer, fitter, like the source says.
Right, those moments where it really bites.
We've all been there. You're scrolling, you see the promotion, the amazing vacation pic, whatever it is, and oof, that gut punch. You feel small for a second. How do we interrupt that specific loop?
The sources are very direct here. They say you need to create a physical and mental break immediately. Your instinct might be to shrink, to slump, to just keep scrolling deeper into the comparison hole.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
The instruction is don't. Don't let their success diminish you. Let it physically move you.
Physically move me? How?
It literally says, stand up. Right then, break the physical posture of passivity, and then write down 3 steps you could take today to close the gap.
Stand up. Write down 3 steps. Today. Why is that so specific? The standing up, the number 3.
The standing up is key. It's a state change. You go from passively receiving information, sitting, scrolling, to being an agent, standing, moving, preparing to act. It signals to your brain. Okay, different mode now we're doing, not just watching.
And why 3 steps? Not 1, not 10.
Because when you're feeling envious, the gap can feel enormous, right?
Yeah.
Like miles wide.
Yeah.
If you tried to list 10 or 20 steps, you'd just get overwhelmed and shut down again.
Yeah, paralysis by analysis.
Exactly. But 3 steps, especially 3 things you can genuinely start to do today, that feels manageable. It channels that intense emotional energy into small, immediate, achievable bursts of action. It builds momentum.
So we're talking micro actions here, not huge, vague goals like become CEO.
Absolutely not. The material is clear on differentiating a step from a goal. A goal is the destination. A step is the very next foot movement.
Gotcha. So if you envy someone's successful podcast,
You don't write get famous. You write maybe. 1. Research 3 competing shows. 2. Outline 5 potential episode ideas. 3. Look up recommended microphones. Things you can actually do in the next hour or day.
or if it's someone's fitness, the steps aren't get shredded.
Right? It's 1. Find out what workout routine they use. 2. Schedule 30 minutes for a workout later today. 3. Drink a glass of water right now instead of soda. It's about initiating movement, however small.
That makes it feel less daunting. It connects the big desire to immediate, concrete behavior.
And it hammers home that core idea. The person you envy, they weren't born there. They learned, they practiced, they started. And the source just keeps reminding you very directly, they started somewhere. You can start now. That immediacy cuts through the excuses.
So you literally use that negative sting as the trigger to be productive, instead of letting it flatten you.
You use that sting to rise. It's a surprisingly, almost aggressive form of self-coaching, really.
Aggressive but necessary, maybe? Because that passive envy, just letting it sit there, it really does fester, doesn't it?
It's insidious. It just feeds on itself. This 3-step action plan basically starves it by forcing you into productive motion. It converts the shame into actual forward momentum.
Okay, so this isn't just about managing a bad feeling in the moment. It sounds like it's framed as a strategy for the future, too.
Definitely. The sources really bring this home by asking you to project forward. They pose this really potent thought experiment.
What is it?
They say basically, picture this. A year from now, someone will be watching you the way you're watching them. It completely flips the perspective.
Whoa. Okay, so you become the object of someone else's, well, envy or admiration.
Exactly. It forces you to realize that how you handle your envy now directly builds the reality that others will see later. You're not just reacting, you're actively constructing your future self.
So the challenge then becomes, what kind of example will you be?
Precisely. When that future person looks at you, what do they see? Do they see, as the source puts it, another dreamer still scrolling, someone who felt the sting but stayed stuck? Or do they see a contender who used that sting to rise? Someone who took that uncomfortable feeling and actually did something with it, turned it into curiosity, turned it into action.
And the choice is entirely yours. That's powerful. The source wraps that up by just saying,
You decide. Simple as that. No excuses, no blaming luck or circumstance. It puts the agency squarely back on you.
which really brings the whole idea full circle, that feeling of envy doesn't have to be this shameful secret.
Not at all. If you actually implement this framework, jealousy to curiosity to action, then envy stops being shame. It becomes potentially the spark that ignites your climb.
It turns this thing we instinctively label as a weakness into, well, into essential fuel.
Exactly. A human failing transformed into motivational gold, if you will.
Wow. Okay, this has been a fascinating deep dive. Really changes how you might think about an emotion we usually just try to squash.
It really does.
I think the biggest takeaway for me is that sometimes the most valuable insights are hiding in the very feelings we try hardest to avoid. Envy isn't necessarily a flaw in our design.
It might just be a poorly understood feature, a high-powered one, if we learn how to use it.
Yeah. If you're going to feel that sting anyway, and let's face it, we all do, sometimes you might as well make that energy work for you, not against you. Don't waste the data point.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Don't waste the data.
Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener, to take away and maybe chew on. If envy really is just a map pointing towards a life or an achievement you secretly desire, take a look at that map right now. What specific person or what specific success triggers that little burn for you? And then the critical part. What 3 immediate actions, and we mean actions, not just wishes or dreams, what 3 concrete steps does that map demand you take today to start closing that gap?
Think small. Think immediate.
And let that sting become your spark.